BRG, PO, no info for the DEA. Federal agents mad cause I'm flagrant, top myself, and the phone in the basement. My team supreme, stay clean, triple beam, lyrical dream. I'll be that, catch you see at all events bent. Gatson, hostess, girls on shoulders, playboy. I told you, me and Mike's to me, bruise too much, I lose too much. Step on stage, the girls boo too much. I guess it's because they run with lame dudes too much. Me lose my touch, never that. If I did, ain't no problem to get the gap where the true players at. Throw the rollies in the sky, wave them side to side and keep your hands high. What's up, my people? This is ShowBizz, don't. All right, man, look. Boy. Oops. Alright, man. Look. Let's get to the video. Who is the heavyweight champion of the world? Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, or Anthony Joshua? Coffee. First, I want to say this. I am fully aware that this is a very sensitive subject. And many of you are right now in the comments putting your bid in. And I also want to say that I'm fully aware that the fanboys of the heavyweight that I don't say is the heavyweight champion are going to say, ShowBizz the adult, you're being biased. And I also know that the fanboys of the heavyweight champion that I say is the heavyweight champion, I know that you're going to say, ShowBizz the adult, thank you for telling the truth. Facts. Boot. Starbucks Fall Blend. Black, 2 sugars. Now let's get to the video. Who is the heavyweight champion of the world? Now, I put a poll up in my community. 5,000 of you voted, and a whopping 53% said Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, is the heavyweight champion of the world. Well, 35% of you said it was Anthony Joshua. The remaining percent of you said Tyson Fury. Now, with that said, I must say that you cannot be considering finances or pay-per-view buys if you say that Deontay Wilder is the world heavyweight champion. And to that, I must say, brava. Because in our ShowBizz, the adult community, my show business partners know that we don't talk about finances or popularity when we say who is the best in the world. So, bravo to you. Now, we're talking about in-ring impact. As far as finances, we know Anthony Joshua, he wins in that category. In Forbes' list, they got Canelo Alvarez ranked number 1, number 2, Anthony Joshua. But at number 3 is Deontay Wilder as the highest paid boxers in the world. Deontay Wilder, he isn't running from anybody. As far as popularity, pay-per-view buys, we already know that Deontay Wilder, his last fight, he got 250,000 pay-per-view buys, something like that, or 275,000, whatever the numbers are. As far as Anthony Joshua, his last fight against Andy Ruiz in that rematch, they broke records as far as pay-per-view buys in the UK. So Anthony Joshua, he wins in that category too. But here in this community, we talk about in-ring impact. So I must ask, who is the best in the world as far as the world heavyweight champion? And you guys know that many times when I talk about the top 3, I usually have at number 1, the lineal champion, Tyson Fury. At number 2, I always have the unified champion. Before it was Andy Ruiz. Now occupying that space is Anthony Joshua, the 2-time world heavyweight champion. At number 3, I usually have Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, being the WBC champion, 10-time defending record champion. Now, I usually have them at the top 3, but when I ask myself, who is the heavyweight champion of the world? I can't say it's Tyson Fury. He's not holding a belt. He is the lineal champion, but he's not holding any hardware. It's not strap season for Tyson Fury. So I must have to reassess my list here because Tyson Fury isn't the world heavyweight champion. It's between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. So let's assess that. In comparing the two, when we talk about in-ring impact, we must compare resumes. And let's talk about it. As of late, Anthony Joshua, overall, we know Anthony Joshua has the better resume. But as of late, let's look at this. You have Klitschko on his resume. You got Takam on his resume. You got Joseph Parker on his resume. You got Povetkin on his resume. Then he loses to Andy Ruiz by knockout. Then he comes back and whitewashes Andy Ruiz in his rematch. Unanimous decision. When you look at Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, who has he beaten? He's beaten Chris Arreola. He's beaten Stavern twice. He's beaten Luis Ortiz twice. He's beaten Dominic Brazil. And he's also had a draw with Tyson Fury. And he has a rematch coming up in February. So when you compare their resumes as of late, a lot of the prestige of their resumes is resting on one fighter, and that's Andy Ruiz. See, we know Klitschko is an all-time fighter, but Klitschko, he was over the hill at the time, but all-time fighter. He looked good in that fight. He dropped Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua showed that he can handle adversity for the first time, getting up off his back and knocking out Klitschko. As far as Anthony Joshua handling adversity, getting knocked out by Andy Ruiz in the garden and coming back, going back to his game plans and said, look here, man, let me reassess my game plan. Go back to the dirt. Go back to the grime. Let's start all over again, and let's add another wrinkle to me. Let's increase my stamina. Let's lower my weight. Let's make me a little bit less bubbly as far as muscles. Let's trim me down, slim me down so I can go 12 rounds and box. He did those things. He was well adjusted, and he dominated Andy Ruiz in the rematch. But like I said, a lot of the prestige is resting on that. Because Andy Ruiz, was he manufactured? And was he manufactured by that left hook landed on Anthony Joshua in that first fight? What I mean is, Andy Ruiz, what did he do before Anthony Joshua? He lost to Joseph Parker, where I think he should have gotten the nod. But he wasn't really known. No one really knew Andy Ruiz. A lot of his fights weren't televised. It was on the undercard of a few guys, but not too many people saw Andy Ruiz. He came out of nowhere, kind of like Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson. More people may have known Buster Douglas than Andy Ruiz. So, was Andy Ruiz manufactured by that left hook because in the rematch he just got whitewashed? It's up to you to say if Andy Ruiz is a top heavyweight. We'll see. Now, when you say resumes is pretty close, still I give the edge to Anthony Joshua. Now, let's talk about impact. When I talk about impact, I mean world impact as far as fighting all over the world. You have Deontay Wilder. He is fighting mostly domestically. Has he had any fights as far as being a champion outside of the States? You tell me. I don't think so. But that didn't go without trying. He tried to take on Povetkin in Moscow, and Povetkin, he popped dirty. That wasn't on Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was trying to be the world heavyweight champion, didn't do it. He's more of a domestic fighter in the States, which is significant. Because if you make it big in the States, everyone knows you worldwide, which is why a lot of people want to come over to the States, which is why Anthony Joshua wanted to come over to the States. Not saying that the States got the more skillful fighters. We all know UK got some skillful fighters. We know Mexico got some skillful fighters. We know Cuba got some skillful fighters. As far as just recognition, the States is where it is. You make it in the States, you make it everywhere. You have popularity everywhere. And Deontay Wilder's holding down the States as far as a heavyweight champion. When it comes to Anthony Joshua, he came over to the States and promptly was knocked out. And that sent vibrations through this nation. Anthony Joshua, he's not what we thought he was. That's what a lot of people, a lot of the casuals said now. But Anthony Joshua having his impact at home in the UK, the biggest thing in the UK, and Anthony Joshua doing his thing in Saudi Arabia. When you're talking about impact all over the world, he's had his impact. We will give that edge to Anthony Joshua. Now, let's talk about accomplishments. Anthony Joshua, two-time world heavyweight champion. That's huge. That's a big deal. And I'm not talking about who he fought. Okay, I'm talking about the fact that he could adjust, be well adjusted. And when we talk about adjustments, we got to talk about improvements. Anthony Joshua, his adjustments, he made huge improvements because what we questioned about Anthony Joshua, one of the biggest things was his movement. He moved forward and backwards, big bulky guy, but he didn't have that lateral movement that he showed against Andy Ruiz in their rematch. Anthony Joshua, we like to criticize his stamina. He big bulky guy, the muscle burning him out, his endurance getting low, but he had great endurance when he fought Andy Ruiz in the rematch. So I was talking about improvements. He made those adjustments. He improved and he showed those things in that rematch, making him a two-time world champion. But if we want to talk about improvements, let's talk about improvements. Let's talk about Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. The way that he fights, he was fighting like just a sloppy mess, throwing punches like this, and he's made those slight changes. Instead of doing this, he started doing this. He started being more patient, looking less sloppy. Don't forget, he was the busy fighter against Tyson Fury, and Tyson Fury gave him a boxing lesson. Deontay Wilder, now he's punching more like a sniper, less like a windmill. And that improvement looks good for Deontay Wilder, which is why he may just be the favorite come February against Tyson Fury. Two-time world champion, Anthony Joshua, versus 10-time defending world champion, Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Who is the heavyweight world champion, in my opinion? Bomb Squad! Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Why? Because he is defending the WBC title and has defended it a record 10 times. But why is that so significant? Because that WBC title is doing what I love, and that is having a direct connection to that lineage, to that lineal champion who vacated that title, Lennox Lewis. That's right. I always put weight on the lineal champion. That's why I had Tyson Fury ranked #1 all this time, because Tyson Fury is the lineal champion. But the hardware, the strap, who has the strap that was released from the last lineal champion, Lennox Lewis, who was never beaten, but he retired. He retired and vacated what belt? The WBC belt. Now, that is the hardware that connects to that lineage, connects to Lennox Lewis and Deontay Wilder. He got that hardware. He got that WBC belt. He got that DNA left by Lennox Lewis, and he has defended it 10 times. That's significant to me, and that makes Deontay, the Bronze Bomber Wilder, the world heavyweight champion, in my opinion. ShowBizz the Adult. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. I'm out.